Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome to the last question mark challenge here today for the first round of the 2019 season at the Australian Grand Prix. Yes, the season is upon us, the opening round, and that means the very first opening episode of the last question mark challenge here for this year. And we're going to start things off with the home man, Daniel Ricciardo, the home favourite here at Australia in his Renault F1 car. We've got the 2019 mod, so all the 2019 driver transfers, the car liveries as accurately as can be done with the mods on the F1 2018 game, but it's the full 2019 lineup and the transfers and whatnot. I'm going to see how we can do in Daniel Ricciardo's Renault from last place on the grid and try and see if we can maybe do some any kind of voodoo magic and predict something, because we have predicted a fair few stuff in the past with these last question mark challenges before, in terms of, you know, who wins the race or who gets on the podium or who gets the fastest lap, maybe as small as that fine detail. But either way, we'll see how we can do. Obviously, it was very intriguing qualifying, to say the least, this morning and Saturday. We'll see how it turns out tomorrow on Sunday, but for now we're just going to focus on our challenge today in a 25% race, so a very short and snappy race. So it means it's a real challenge because we can't dawdle with overtakes. We have to really make sure we get them done within a lap or two of getting up to the car we're trying to overtake, otherwise we just won't get up the order and make it into what should be points paying positions, hopefully, with the Renault, because you would say the Renault team would be aiming for points here in the opening race of 2019. And before we get into this, before anyone points it out in the comments, yes, the tyre compounds are a bit wrong because unfortunately we can't modify the tyre compounds and the colours on the sidewall to accurately represent what is going to be the case in 2019 with just 3 different colours. So that's going to be a little bit different to real life, but apart from that, the mod does a very good job at simulating the 2019 conditions with the driver transfers and livery. So let's just get into this then as we go towards 5 red lights for this 25% race around Australia, the last question mark challenge, the first one for the 2019 year with Daniel Ricciardo, as we now wait for the 5 red lights to go out and be underway here in Melbourne. And it's an okay start for us, bit of a shaky one for Robert Kubica ahead of us in the Williams car. Of course, the Williams way off the pace, so we have to watch out for how slow they may be into turn 1. And also turn 1 is just always a very tricky situation in the midfield there. Giovinazzi on the left-hand side of Kubica. You can see 3 wide up ahead between Lando Norris, Lance Stroll, and Alexander Albon as we go down the inside then, and going to try and make a big dive to the inside of the Toro Rosso and the Williams and try and get up into P16. We just about wrestled the car through, and now we watch on Stroll and Norris neck and neck in the McLaren and Racing Point car. Norris down the inside did a fantastic job, obviously, in qualifying. In real life at the moment here, he's a little bit down the order and trying to keep up with his teammate further ahead, with Sergio Perez also ahead of his teammate, respectively, ahead of Norris in what is going to be P13 there, Norris P14, and ourselves up into P15 now. So pretty good start, actually. 1 lap gone, 5 positions gained, so I would say that's a pretty successful start, considering Melbourne is a very tough place to overtake, actually. You know, street circuit, a lot of dirty air kicks in around here. It's usually going to be a challenge, and definitely probably will be a challenge tomorrow in the real life Grand Prix for Juan Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz, who were both knocked out in Q1 here. But for us, we're moving forward quite swiftly round the outside. It's going to be a lovely little move there on Lando Norris. Lovely time move there. Just have to feather the throttle as we enter the apex there. Smoothly get on the power to get the exit we needed. And we're up into P14 then. And we can now try and get on the back of Sergio Perez, who's getting stuck a little bit behind the other Toro Rosso, Danica Fiat, I think that is. Meanwhile, up ahead, my teammate Hulkenberg doing a good job. It looks like, I think he is just about in, I think, best of the rest, P7 right now, or maybe just behind Carlos Sainz, who's best of the rest. So let's try and catch up to him. I think that's where we're going to aim for, pretty much, trying to match where our teammate is, Hulkenberg, and try and get up into that best of the rest slot, really, in the Renault from last place. I think that's all you can really hope for here, and probably what the guys in real life are going to hope for in the race tomorrow, after a bit of a subpar performance, I guess you could say, not making it through into Q3, neither of the 2 Renault guys. But here we go now in the game, catching up to the Racing Point car, the second of the race now around the outside. It's a copycat move, deja vu there, but we don't get the exit we got against Lando Norris. You can see how much of a great exit I got on Norris, because now, instead of overtaking Perez, I'm still fighting him into the end of Sector 1, pretty much. We go round the outside. They're jostling for position to the inside for the next corner, right in the curb a little bit there, but we squeeze them out. Now up into P13 finally, and now a bit of clean air to work with to try and catch up to the Russian Danica Fiat in the second Toro Rosso car. As we enter turn 1 now on lap 4, you can see a big gaggle of cars up ahead, so a big train actually forming of Carlos Sainz, Hulkenberg. I think Raikkonen's up in there as well in the Alfa Romeo car. So let's see if we can join the parties. We dive down the inside there. Big Ricciardo-esque dive bomb. And we're up into P12. And it's the Rich Energy Haas cars, actually, that I held up quite a fair bit and kind of forming a bit of a train here, fighting other cars. And so for us, though, so far so good. Probably with a bit more speed than the real-life Renaults will have, as a bit of carbon fibre sticks off there. So I think Fiat trying to do something funny with me in the next brake zone. But yeah, with the mod, I think maybe the Renaults maybe a little bit quicker than they probably are going to be in real life, I would say. But I mean, obviously that's just a mod compared to real life. You can never really get it completely accurate. But so far so good for us. But yellow flags up here. There's actually a car going slowly on the minimap there. And dare I say, I think it's one of the Red Bull Hondas. Yes, it is. Max Verstappen with an engine failure there. And I got to say, for Verstappen's sake, and any Verstappen fans watching, I hope that's not a bad omen and a bit of wizardry for tomorrow's race. Otherwise, that would be quite a disaster for Verstappen after quite a perfect qualifying, according to him, to split the two Ferraris in real life there. So that would be quite something if I managed to predict that. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers that's not a prediction for me in this video here. As we overtake Romain Grosjean, that was very swiftly to the inside there. I think he actually had a problem, my engineer said on the radio, so that was a fairly easy overtake. Maybe not so much on Magnussen. We're going to close up with DRS. We can see on the bottom right there, really having to manage the ERS quite a fair bit, you know, having to go low to none ERS there in the last sector to really manage how the electrical deployment is and make sure I have enough saved up for the straight. You can see here, trying my best to close up with DRS and high. You know, thought about having a little look, to be honest, through turns one as we went down that straight, but just wasn't anywhere near Magnussen to make a move, and unfortunately, he kind of holds me up now as we close up in the corner, so clearly got a bit more grip in the corners compared to that Haas car there, but Magnussen also held up himself behind Carlos Sainz in the McLaren, so we both can't do anything really. So the classic kind of Melbourne kind of scenario where you get caught up in dirt. Yes, we're going to have to be patient and wait probably for, I would say, the back straight after the chicane here. So even on this next straight, we probably won't close up enough to make a move as we ride the curve a little bit, get as close as we can to the wall on the exit, plant the power. You can see hot lap mode engage rich mix, but then we're going to put this down a little bit as we go through the high-speed chicane, lift off there, down 6th gear, and then plant the power as early as we can, full throttle, DRS open, back up into hot lap mode, then overtake mode to try and get some extra speed in 7th gear, but still not close enough to Magnussen. But Sainz, you can see there, goes defensive, holds up Magnussen a fair bit, and now we're right up his shop, and so I'm going to try and size up a move into the second last corner. He's very slow through the right-hander. Here we go, big dive bomb there down the inside, lock up on the front left tyre, but we managed to survive that corner and just about skate through there for P9, and on the exit curve, we're going to get that and move on towards looking at Carlos Sainz there. So thankfully, just about got that there. And so now we're going to close up to the Spaniard. Good work there through that chicane. We're closing up. Remember, we're on the slower compounder tyre here because, like I said, unfortunately with the mods, we can't get the tyres as accurately modded as in real life. So technically, I'm on a slower tyre than these guys are, and I will be faster in the Grand Prix with the Ultras. Of course, though, in the real life season, the Ultras they don't exist. There's no more purple wall tyre, of course. But Sainz comes in then for his first pit stop and only pit stop of the afternoon, obviously being a 25% race. We actually got very close and familiar with him, obviously tapping his rear end in that last sector, so clearly my pace was kicking in quite a fair bit. And we're actually going to close up to the Iceman, Kimi Räikkönen, doing a very good job in the Alfa Romeo, though, must be said right now in P3 as it is, because some of the top guys have pit already for their first pit stop. So lap 7 of 15, so we've got 8 laps left of this Grand Prix, and so we probably will be on the Ultras for a fair old amount, just about nearly halfway of this Grand Prix on the other set of tyres. There's now Charles Leclerc is out of the Grand Prix, so that's a Ferrari out as well. So he's open again. That might not be a prediction. If it's so, it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath for the top guys there. So Leclerc and Verstappen out of this Australian Grand Prix there. Of course, Leclerc made a mistake in qualifying this morning there, and he was quite upset, so wanting to make up for it in the race tomorrow. So let's see if he's going to do that, or he might retire. I don't know. Let's see. But now at the moment, I'm kind of hoping Räikkönen is probably going to come in for a pit stop, because if he doesn't, this is going to be a bit of a slow lap for us as we move on to lap 8, because I've clearly got more pace, but I just can't get enough speed to overtake him quite on this lap there. As we go through the second last corner, he does peel into the pit lane there. We're going to continue on for one more lap then, so we're going to push in quite a lot there, use all that ERS with hot lap mode and rich mix going, and we're going to pit in on lap number 8, but we set a personal PB there, so even though I felt like I was getting held up by Räikkönen, clearly Räikkönen was going pretty okay at an okay speed, because I set a PB there on that lap following him. So we come in then for our pit stop onto a set of ultra soft tyres, the fastest compound available this weekend in the game, obviously, like I said, not the case in real life. But we come in then for that pit stop, and we're going to see where we are. Now, I thought that was a pretty damn good in-lap, so we might have a good chance of actually jumping Räikkönen with an overcut, basically, here. Hulkenberg will come down the main straight. He'll eventually overtake us. I think you can see there is his yellow dot on the minimap there. As we come out there, we plant the power as we're able to take the limiter off, but there goes Hulkenberg, our teammate, up into P5, but we come out ahead of Raikkonen then. So we have jumped the Alfa Romeo car there with the overcut there. So the raw speed we had on the outer lap, on the in lap, I should say, was good enough, as we have a bit of a screen freeze though, so we almost bin it into the grass there. Thank you very much, Codemasters Game, for that screen freeze. But anyway, it's not going to affect us too much as we move on now towards lap number 10. DRS open there. We're closing rapidly on our team at Hulkenberg, but we're having to save a bit of fuel, you can see on the bottom right. They're having to go to lean mixture, but Hulkenberg locks up badly. We put him under pressure there, and so it might not matter. We have DRS as well, and so Hulkenberg being forced into a mistake there, but we're on the grass a tad as I look behind me there. A bit of a mistake. I go cautious on the braking to not lock up, and that allows Hulkenberg to come back. It's my teammate, remember, so I have to give him more room than I would do any other competitor, and so we're going to lift off a tad and just make sure we don't completely squeeze him out, and we do just about get that up into P5. Hulkenberg makes a bit of contact with us as he tries some funny business in the right-hander, just like a Fiat did. Unfortunately, that's a bit of a weird AI coding there, trying to make a move to the inside when they're just not available. But we're up into P5 then, and I think hopefully on the exit of this corner, we should be able to get away. As I look behind me, we are going to get away from Hulkenberg, and so that's probably going to be the maximum we can hope for. Of course, with two top cars out of the Grand Prix, you know, Leclerc and Verstappen DNFing, P5 is the best we can do, obviously, with two Mercedes cars, one Ferrari and one Red Bull left in this. So it's going to be Sebastian Vettel that wins this Australian Grand Prix. I'll have a tough time imagining that'll be the case tomorrow in the real-life Grand Prix, but there you go. Vettel wins the Grand Prix. Gasly would be very happy with P4 in the real-life race if he recovered to there, but we're going to slide through the last corner and get P5 for Daniel Ricciardo at his home race. He would be ecstatic if he got that, I think, in tomorrow's real-life race, to be honest, because that Renault doesn't look like to have too much pace, at least from what it looks like in FP1 and 2 and how they did in qualifying there. But for us, we've done a very, very good job there with Ricciardo in the first last question mark challenge there, because usually, you know, if I'm in a top 3 car, I'm trying to aim for first place or a good podium. If I'm in a midfield, generally trying to go for best of the rest at least. So that was pretty much literally the maximum best of the rest I could have hoped for there today with P5 with the 2 retirements. So guys, if you did enjoy that video, then be sure to smash the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and let me know some predictions, guys, of your own. Obviously, we tried to do some voodoo magic maybe today with the last question mark challenge race and try and predict some things. Let me know what your predictions are for the Grand Prix tomorrow. Do you think Ferrari can take any sort of fight to Mercedes, or will it be all Merc and then Ferrari v Red Bull tomorrow? And let me know what you think about, obviously, the rest of the grid and the points runners for the midfield, the rest of the top 10. But once again, guys, if you did enjoy the video, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe for weekly Formula One content. Obviously, I will have a podcast out very, very shortly after the race is over tomorrow morning to review the Australian Grand Prix. So look out for that if you're new around here. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.